We do have a guest on the line, though. Mr. Justin Sacco, how you doing?
Doing great. Thank you all for having me.
Good to see
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. So we were chatting just briefly pre-market. We were talking about some strategies. We hear that you love the wheel strategy. Why is that?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a number of positions that typically I'm holding long term, but I like to be generating income while I'm also in the market instead of just kind of seeing, green numbers on the screen that actually isn't cash hitting my account. So I'm a big fan of the whale strategy. I talk about that a lot on the channel. And I think a lot of the viewers, once they kind of understand how it works, are also interested in kind of running that strategy themselves.
Yeah.
Nice. Are there any like specific names that you like to do? Is it consumer staples? Is there any certain area that you like to do it in, or is there any things that you'll stay away from? What's kind of your typical when you're looking for these sort of when you're looking to employ these strategies? What kind of names are you looking to do them in?
Yeah, so usually I'm looking for names that are typically, trending upwards, but have some kind of volatility with them because I think it gives you good entries and then also kind of good profitability. So right now, mainly the four primary quantum names are usually like my top picks. So we've got Rigetti, IonQ, D-Wave, and then Quantum Computing Inc. I've kind of stepped away from that one. But yeah, IonQ has been a really, my bread and butter, probably since middle of last year. And then I also look at names like Rocket Lab. That stock has also treated me pretty well, running this strategy on. Um, and yeah, so I've got a number of positions open on all four of those names.
Justin likes names with high volatility.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
noticing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
yeah,
It seems like
yeah.
under $100, high implied volatility. You're collecting a lot of premium, two-sided action. That's
Yep.
the important part with that strategy is like if you see a chart that's up and down and up and down, that's a great chart for something like a wheel strategy because you're likely going to get put the stock at some point. You're going to pick up a lot of premium along the way. And then if and when you do get that up move, you're going to realize that profitability not only on the shares, but also the premium you're collecting. So we were just talking to
Right.
Liz, one of our co-hosts here, and she was looking at some really tight wheels on Micron, or not Micron, sorry, SpaceX, because you
Mhm.
can get so much premium relative to the price of the stock here, just like even the near term stuff. Are you looking at monthlies? Are you looking at weeklies? What's your general feel?
Yeah, so typically 30 days out is usually my expiration. And I like to be in like a 0.35 delta, and at least 4% return on the premium.
Cool.
But obviously, the better the premium, the more attractive it looks to me. Um, and SpaceX is a name I haven't started digging through their options chain yet, but it's also on my radar.
Yeah, and like even here, if you did this for 23 days, close enough to the 30-day, 35 delta, picking up $750, which is what 7% of the stock price. So
Mhm.
huge premium
Yeah.
there. And yeah, she was looking at like selling even the at the money and then getting a higher probability of taking the stock just so that you can get into this call skew premium. Is that something you look at too? Call skew versus put skew, or is it really just products that have high IV, products you like being in? It seems like you're more quantum leaning.
Yeah, I think I kind of lean towards names that companies I wouldn't mind owning at the end of the day because I
Hmm.
know that there is going to be assignments that happen. So I kind of pick a cost basis that I'm comfortable with. So maybe IonQ is $45, maybe Rocket Lab 75 to 80, and if I get assigned on those, then that's totally fine with me. So I'm usually looking for names that I'm just comfortable owning if the assignments do happen.
Yeah, that leads to the question I had. A great friend of mine once said the idea, and I love the way he described this idea. Basically, when you're selling that put, right? Essentially, it's there's a couple of things that could happen. He's explaining it to newer investors, and he was saying, basically, the best if you get assigned at a strike where you want to get long stock, right? And if you don't, the worst thing that happens is like you made money because it moves away from your strike. So leads me to my question: which kind of person are you? Do you really want to take stock? It sounds like I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you love the idea of getting stock. So I feel like some people are scared of that idea of actually taking stock at that price, and some people are like, oh man, I wanted to get assigned. Like, which kind of person are you?
Yeah, it depends. For like IonQ and Rocket Lab, I try to not get assigned. I'd rather just collect the premiums, move on, and just continue running the strategy. If the assignment happens, for IonQ, for example, that stock I owned, sold it for a nice profit, and now I'm looking for assignments again because I truly want to own the stock. So it's a little bit of both, I would say.
Yeah, it makes sense. And sometimes the premium or the buying power requirement relative to owning the stock is pretty similar. Sometimes it's dramatically different. Where you have the short put on, you have a lot more leverage by way of lack of buying power. So I think in those cases, I would probably be leaning towards keeping the put on just for capital efficiency. But yeah, sometimes you take the stock, and then if you have a super aggressive call skew, I'd rather have the stock in that case, because then I can sell that call much higher than the current market price and get that static delta profitability all the way up if it does end up moving that way. But yeah, a super conservative strategy, especially for people just dipping their toes in the options world. You just have the key is the sizing. Like, to your point, you have to be willing to take that stock. You have to do it in a way where you can accept those 100 shares, because that's the only way it works. The way it works is if you can withstand all the variance, and you're always going to give yourself a better entry point. You're going to continue to reduce cost basis with that sale of the short call with no upside risk once you have the shares. So yeah, super conservative strategy.
So along those lines, Justin, you like Rocket Lab, and we have SpaceX up here. Is this one that's going to eventually be in your wheelhouse, or what?
Yeah, I think so. I owned it before, like I said, a cost basis of around $73.50. Ended up selling it on this initial run up. Was expecting some kind of pullback after the SpaceX IPO, which is typically what we're seeing. So I'm actually looking for an entry in that name, probably within the next couple of days or a week.
In SpaceX,
just kind of watching how the stock trades.
You're saying in SpaceX, that is, in the next couple of weeks?
For Rocket Lab would be in the next couple of weeks, and SpaceX, I'm going to start looking into that one also.
Gotcha. Okay.
Sweet. Yeah. Love it. Yeah, a lot of these products can and will move together as they're related for sure. But yeah, good stuff. The wheel strategy, selling a put to take the shares, and then once you get the shares, selling a call against it to continue that premium collection. It's a high probability trade, and it's kind of obviously an intelligent way to acquire shares of stock instead of just buying it outright. You can make money in a neutral market or even a down market for that case. So anytime you can allow yourself to do that, you're in a good spot. Cool. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your time, and we'll see you later. Hopefully you get into that SpaceX premium. It seems pretty juicy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you both.
Absolutely.